Hey guys, time for Tech News Day.
Oh baby, Elon, what is you doing? Once again, Elon Musk's choice to maintain an active Twitter account instead of simply shutting the fuck up and enjoying his life as a billionaire offline has bitten him in the ass. And if you can believe it, this time it could get him in a whole lot more trouble than that time when he baselessly accused a guy who'd just helped save a dozen children's lives of being a pedophile. Even worse than that. Now, unlike the general public, the investment community and the government agencies that regulate them, they don't really give a shit if you're an asshole, but they do care if you're using your Twitter account to commit securities fraud, because that's a crime.
I like how instead of it's not even that he should just shut the fuck up, it's that someone should take the megaphone out of his hand. It's like, Elon, if you want to say all this shit in your private life, that's fine. You're comfortable around your friends and peers.
You gotta give him a dummy phone.
Yeah.
Like a fake version of Twitter.
Yeah, it just goes straight to a garbage dump somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to what we were talking about though. Basically, when you're the CEO of a company that's listed on a stock exchange for any member of the public to purchase shares of, the things you say publicly about how your company is doing have to be done in a specific way. You've got to let investors know ahead of time when and where you're going to make announcements that will probably affect the stock price, and you have to tell the truth. So understandably, the alarm bells went off last week when Elon Musk tweeted, "Am considering taking Tesla private at $420. $420, of course. Funding secured. Shareholders could either sell at $420 or hold shares and go private."
So in layman's terms, he's saying that Tesla has secured funding from an outside source, which will allow him to take Tesla off the stock market entirely because he'll no longer need public investment. To do that, Tesla will buy back all the public shares at the meme price of $420 a share. Those who choose not to sell can keep their shares, but they won't be able to trade them like normal stocks anymore. They'll have to sell them back directly to Tesla, and that's only if Tesla agrees to buy them, and it's only at the price Tesla's willing to pay them. Leading up to this, Tesla stock had been oscillating between $290 and $350 a share for the last month, which is already pretty volatile, but it's also way lower than $420 a share, the price he said they would pay for everyone's shares any day now.
420 pays it.
So, of course, Elon's tweets set off a frenzy of trading from investors looking to profit off of this supposed news from various angles. And the cumulative effect was Tesla's stock price getting a nice big bump, all thanks to people buying it, hoping for the guaranteed profit.
This is not normal. So first off, what Elon's describing here is incredibly rare, with the closest example probably being Dell, who went private in 2013. Also, some would argue it's a very clear case of price manipulation. The Securities and Exchange Commission, the government agency in charge of making sure companies don't screw over their investors, just so happens they're now investigating. Because again, you can't just tweet shit like that out without notifying investors. You may think it's funny, it's just not the way anything works.
Oh wait, he broke the law.
There's a reason CEOs save this kind of news for scheduled investor calls. They don't want to get investigated for securities fraud.
Well, I'm not your typical CEO, bro.
They go like
I
this.
take LSD, allegedly. And we'll get to that.
We're gonna allegedly
This
get
is
to LSD.
a big story. There's a lot of layers to it. But also, if Elon is in fact telling the truth here in these tweets, who is this mystery investor offering to swoop in and buy up everyone's Tesla stock? Because doing so would cost somewhere between $50 and $70 billion, which is a lot. So it's gotta be someone with some very deep pockets.
It's the man who shorted Facebook 3 weeks ago.
Now, even 2 days after these tweets, Tesla's board of directors reportedly still did not know who exactly had offered to finance the stock buyout, which is also weird. But on Monday this week, Elon made the big reveal on Tesla's blog. It's Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
That's right, everyone's favorite country, literally the Kingdom of Saudi fucking Arabia.
The one who's in a fight with Canada of all places right now?
Yeah. So yeah, they're the ones who swooped in and they're gonna own a giant chunk of Tesla. And
Wait, you mean the same country where a lot of our oil reserves come from is investing in a company that specializes in renewable energy?
Yeah, so I mean, this is totally fine. It's not gonna affect, Tesla owners, ability to rationalize their purchases, knowing that they're essentially funding a
You know what it is?
dictatorship.
You know what it is? Because here's the problem. They just let women drive. Recently they're like, okay, women can drive.
But don't give them gas cars, they're too fast.
Yeah, we don't have enough cars, and we can't trust women with a car that has runs on gasoline. It'll explode.
One Muslim cleric before did say that one of the reasons women shouldn't be allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia is the rumbling of the engine
Oh, because
it'll
make them orgasm.
Make their lady parts shake.
Yeah.
Tesla's
We
no
can't let
engine.
them know what orgasm feels like.
Tesla's smooth drive,
Yeah,
no
very,
combustion.
very smooth. And the kids get to play on the giant iPad. It's fun for everyone.
Yeah.
Anyways, to be clear, the Saudis do have their fingers in a ton of international companies. Money in the form of crude oil literally comes out of the ground there. There's currently a fight over one of the seas, like one of the bodies of water there, where they're like, all right, the actual water is international waters, but we gotta split up the base of this water source because there's oil in there.
Of course, got to get that oil out.
Yeah. So they take that money and they invest it in companies all over the world to turn that money into even more money, often by basically hedging their bets on sustainable technology that threatens to doom the oil industry. Still though, the idea that a huge chunk of Tesla is going to be owned by one of the most repressive governments on earth, who just last week was implying on Twitter that Canada would suffer a 9/11-esque event if they keep criticizing Saudi Arabia's lack of civil rights. Not a good look, especially right now.
No.
And Grimes is from Canada too. So technically, her home country, I believe she's from Canada, her home country is fighting Saudi Arabia, and here all of a sudden,
There's a lot of layers to all of this.
she's a self-hating Canadian. Thanks, I'm sorry.
She better apologize to herself. Now, meanwhile, none of this is even a done deal. The Saudi thing, it's like, they've offered to do it apparently, but it requires getting the approval of investors and board members.
It's the standard Twitter testing the waters kind of thing. Like, how bad is public backlash going to be? Oh, we survived 3 days? Cool, fire it up.
Yeah, which is fine when you're not talking about a publicly traded stock.
Yeah, exactly.
And now Tesla is the subject of at least 3 lawsuits filed by investors who say that Musk's tweets were illegal market manipulation that artificially inflated the stock price. And if you thought the whole saga was stupid and wild enough, well, sit down, because a new player has entered the game, and her name is Azealia Banks. Now, if you're not familiar with Azealia Banks, well, she's a rapper, but she's also a notorious lunatic.
Yeah.
The last time we talked about her was around 2 years ago when she claimed to have been attacked and called the N-word by Russell Crowe, which was refuted by the RZA, who had actually brought her with him to Russell Crowe's house as his guest. He said that she had actually been threatening other guests with violence, and Russell Crowe had actually just blocked her from cutting another guest's face with broken glass.
As you do. She released a fantastic album like 4 years ago.
Yeah, no, like her music is really good.
But it's the greatest artist.
She's like the
they're
girl
broken
Kanye.
on the inside,
She's female Kanye if Kanye was also like
very
kind
aggressive.
of violent. Yeah, like way more aggressive. Like
He keeps to himself. on
Kanye
Twitter.
just loves himself too much. Like Azealia Banks loves herself too much and hates
everyone else.
Yeah.
Anyways, with that all said, anything Azealia Banks says should be taken with not just a massive grain of salt, an entire factory filled with salt.
Yeah.
It's still fun though. So over the weekend, she had a lot to say about Elon Musk on Instagram, her social network of choice, after being banned from Twitter for some heinously homophobic and racist tweets 2 years ago. Because she's banned from Twitter, a lot of her Instagram stories are just pictures of texts. So let's read.
Staying at Elon Musk's house has been like a real-life episode of Get Out. Not a TV show. Lol, I waited around all weekend while Grimes coddled her boyfriend for being too stupid to know not to go on Twitter while on acid.
Okay.
They're both two fucking crackheads. He's on tweeting on acid, fucking up his own stocks and whatnot. A real-life dummy. Lol, Elon Musk is better off hiring an escort. At least an escort would have kept her mouth shut about his business. He's got some dirty sneaker, inbred, out-of-the-woods, Pabst beer, pussy, meth head junkie running around town telling everybody about him. All because he needed a date to the Met Gala to hide his shrinking dick from Amber Heard. Lol, a fucking rebound. A beta male who took steroids and got hair plugs to convince himself he was an alpha. There's no reason that in this collab with Grimes, I know so much about Elon Musk. Grimes is really an idiot.
Wow. So a lot to unpack there. And again, taking any of Azealia Banks' words literally, although she paints a beautiful picture.
Yeah, there's a reason
fantastic lyricist.
She's a celebrated lyricist.
Yeah, she paints a wonderful picture with these words. If is the picture entirely made up of historical accuracy, well, anybody's guess.
Yeah.
But it's like, much like reality TV show, not really reality. This could have been reality. We're not sure.
Based on a true story.
Still, A lot to unpack. And we didn't even include the rant saying that Elon Musk's family made all their money in the South African mining industry exploiting black people, and Elon hasn't done shit to help Africa.
I'm actually kind of on her side with that one.
Okay. Or the implication that she'd been invited over not just to collab on music, but to also have a threesome with Grimes and Musk. Or Banks saying Elon Musk is, quote, on the Down syndrome spectrum.
Jesus.
So, yikes. And again, this could all just be the fantasies of a legit crazy person, but it's definitely not completely unbelievable. It makes him... Every day we get further away from God's light and closer to Silicon Valley being an actual documentary.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Elon.
First off, Grimes has been teasing a collaboration with Azealia Banks on Twitter for a while now, because unfortunately Azealia can't tweet it herself.
She can't.
Secondly, if you look at Elon Musk's tweets from Friday night, they do seem to indicate that they might be coming from someone in an altered state of mind.
Yeah. Short shorts coming soon to Tesla merch. Sexy with a 3. What are your fave short shorts? Paired with thigh-high sock boots, unisex, another again with a 3. And thigh-high socks with pockets for lip liner and cards. A little weird, yes. To be fair,
I'm moving away from the sustainable energy business and we're getting into clothing. It would be so fucking good to see Elon Musk go on Shark Tank. Yeah, so these are the short shorts. They got lip liner and card pockets.
I wonder how Mark Cuban feels about Elon Musk. He's got to have opinions.
Apparently, he doesn't think it's that weird. And I don't know if that includes the most recent
Mark
stuff.
Cuban's himself, he was like the original hothead,
And he's the basis of what is it, Gavin Belson?
No, he's the basis.
I put radio on the internet.
Yeah, no, that's this guy fucks guy.
Oh, okay.
Russell Hanneman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So up until recently, I've seen him comment on it and be like, I mean, yeah, he's a little eccentric, but he knows what he's doing.
He's probably a little jealous. Anyway,
could be.
To be fair, the whole shorts meme that's going on here, it's part of a recurring thing where Musk makes fun of Tesla short sellers, aka the people who are betting on Tesla stock failing.
Yeah.
Still, a strange string of tweets to be sending out on a Friday night when you'd assume he'd be up to some billionaire shit.
Probably lack of sleep, not acid. You can start tripping.
That's true. However, tech CEOs doing acid is actually a popular trend among the Silicon Valley crowd, with lots of people swearing that if you do just enough LSD, it actually makes your brain more powerful.
It's called microdosing and it works.
Yeah, or some shit, I don't know. Real or fake? We probably need to update our mantra now, given everything we've covered. What should you do when shit hits the fan? Shut the fuck up and don't take psychedelic drugs.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna take psychedelic drugs, just leave the phone at home.
Yeah.
And just go somewhere without any connectivity and then come back when you're done.
And pro tip, based on no real personal experience.
We'd have no idea about
If you are taking psychedelic drugs with friends, and one of them playing with that phone,
get it rid of it.
Get that phone out of their head.
Walk away, because it's just gonna bum you out, and then you're gonna bum them out, and it's a snowball.
What are you doing on your phone?
No, just look at the clouds or something.
Allegedly.
Anyway, by now, the Elon Musk Stan force is probably in full effect, defending the honor of their Lord and Savior down in the comments. The ones that are left, anyway. So let's jump over to shitting on someone that pretty much everyone can get on board with hating. FCC Chairman Ajit Pai, or a shit pie, or just a terrible person. Yeah. We should just call him Bad Man. Bad Man! And listen, who could we get that would be better on shitting on Ajit Pai than Phil Arrigo, the bad man, who sometimes holds his deuces for days, waiting on Ajit Pai news. Let's just get Phil on the line. Phil, are you there? Cool, go ahead.
Some of the best TV shows and movies keep you guessing. When you, the viewer, don't know what's gonna happen, that's when you get the tensest moments. Think about Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. Those aren't predictable shows, and that's what made them so amazing. On the other hand, think of some of the worst movies you've seen where 5 minutes in, you figured out who the killer is, or that the entire thing's a dream and some really lazy plot device. When things play out predictably, that's just a bummer. Enter the FCC. Chairman Ajit Pai decided to kill net neutrality, and in 2017, during the period when the FCC site was open to comments from the public, that's you and me, the site was allegedly hit with a DDoS attack, rendering the open comment period nearly useless. So the government agency went ahead and dismantled net neutrality because, there weren't enough comments. And here's the part where this direct-to-DVD movie gets predictable. The FCC was never hacked. In a plot twist fit for an episode of Scooby-Doo, The FCC lied to Congress about being hacked, and that carries a penalty of up to 5 years in prison. So here's the big question Ajit Pai has to face. How long did he know the FCC didn't actually get hacked? At the core of this lame, predictable rotten apple is Ajit Pai's agency. All they had to do was let their website write down the names of everyone who opposed their ruling on net neutrality and keep a log of all these comments. And legally, they could have kept the comments and still just killed it like the greedy bloodsuckers they are. But no. Pai, in true cowardly fashion, had to lie about some bad men taking his website offline, so a bunch of people whose internet would be gutted by giant telecoms couldn't say they didn't want to get fucked. I realize this is something I talk about a lot. It's not a life-threatening issue. It's not kids in cages. It's not a terrorist attack. But when this asshole was appointed, anyone who knew anything about net neutrality or ever met a slimy car salesman got skeeved out by Ajit Pai. And he made those funny videos and tried to ham it up for the cameras, which he looked right into our eyes and fucked the American people. But it turns out Ajit Pai couldn't even maintain eye contact while fucking us and had to go around the back and pull some shady shit like turning off his website and blaming hackers. You fucking child. So journalists are filing freedom of information requests to get documents, and Pai's gonna have to answer some very pointed questions from Democrats. And who knows if he's going to jail or if he's gonna pin it on someone else, or just like everything else and so many other government misdoings do, it's just gonna evaporate. And we're just gonna move on and watch a new dog video on the timeline. You know why Ajit Pai is a cool guy? He did other cool stuff, like trying to kill a lifeline program in tribal areas where low-income families get $25 credits on their phone or internet service. Cool guy! Pai said that this program, which is riddled with fraud and should be discontinued because telecom providers aren't incentivized to build out broadband in rural areas, they gotta kill it. Me, I don't know. I don't see how telecoms are gonna wanna spend money to bring broadband to the middle of nowhere now that they're getting less money from the people in the middle of nowhere. But don't worry, Pai's plan was voted down in court. And finally, two giant media conglomerates have called off their wedding. Tribune Media Company and Sinclair Broadcasting Group were supposed to merge and make this giant behemoth of TV stations telling you what to do and how to think. But now Tribune is suing Sinclair for breach of contract. Bammo, it's a divorce. Why would they sue them for breach of contract? Well, because Sinclair would have to divest themselves of some of their TV stations, basically giving up control, because when you mesh these two giants together, they would own too many stations legally. So Sinclair kind of pretended to give up control of stations and like maybe tried to dupe the FCC. Remember them from a minute ago with their cool guy Ajit Pai? Well, Pai said Sinclair's fake getting rid of the stations, quote, would allow Sinclair to control these stations in practice, even if not in name, in violation of the law. Look at you, Ajit Pai, really just fucking everyone in all these stories. So if these two big companies were able to merge, they control 215 different stations, and according to the FCC's math, the combined company would reach 72% of US television households and would own and operate the largest number of broadcast television stations of any station group. So that 72% is important because Sinclair happens to be a company that forces their anchors to read from scripts that lean heavily to the right politically, often presenting certain political views as fact, maybe when they might not be, or maybe just really pushing an agenda. Whoa, hold on a second. Is that good guy Ajit Pai? You know what, let's check in with the guy who appointed Ajit Pai and what he had to say about this. So sad and unfair that the FCC wouldn't approve the Sinclair broadcast merger with Tribune. This would have been a great, much-needed conservative voice for and of the people. Liberal fake news, NBC and Comcast gets approved. Much bigger, but not Sinclair. Disgraceful. I'm throwing my phone in the fucking ocean. And that's a rap fact. Hey, does anybody want this phone before I throw it in the ocean? It used to be good.
Thanks, Phil.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Now let's check in with a company we haven't talked about in days.
I almost forgot they existed.
MoviePass. Someone actually commented on one of our videos recently that MoviePass is our new title, and that's actually pretty much 100% correct.
Yeah.
This company simply cannot stop fucking up. At least Tidal had a business plan that wasn't going to, by design, lead to bankruptcy.
Yeah.
MoviePass, on the other hand, they're basically just a room full of people trying to stop the minute hand on their doomsday clock from hitting midnight. and they're not strong enough. And the latest act of desperation from MoviePass is apparently just going ahead and reactivating the accounts of people who previously canceled their membership, which is actually a very Tidal thing to do.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, is it intentional or is it incompetence? Well, either way, you should probably check your email and your credit card statements if you've ever been a MoviePass member, because turns out leaving this sinking ship isn't quite so simple.
Two things that remind me immediately of Tidal that, one we didn't talk about in here, but it reminds me of it. The other one is that with Tidal, they did this around limited edition releases, and it's like, there ought to be a law, but I guarantee you it's because like they reactivated accounts, potentially probably gave them more free trials that would just end anyway, just to boost their active numbers during the release of this.
Yeah, so that they can share that data with their investors.
So that too, but they could also send an email like, hey, it's free for 30 days, you got Milk Lemonade or whatever Beyonce's album is coming out, and you can listen to it for free. It's fine. And then, so the other thing, and I only found this out because I was looking for B-roll of MoviePass outside of just the fucking logo. You know, Tidal threw that thing where it was all like champagne glasses, a Daft Punk.
Yeah, they had one in like New York.
Well, no, they were doing them everywhere. They did one at Coachella. It was like the MoviePass house.
Where did all of our money go?
This is, they're just burning money. Like guaranteed spending $50,000 on a bunch of DJs, renting a house for tens of thousands of dollars, booze.
It's not uncommon in startup culture. It sounds a lot like a company I worked at once.
I mean, I've definitely worked for a few companies that don't know how to. One company about 15 years ago, probably a money laundering scheme.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got paid for a little bit while I was there, and it was just a little bit of money.
Good.
But
You getting paid, bro?
it was barely. I left before they stopped paying people, and then we're like, you'll get the check someday. Anyways.
Yeah. Finally, it's time for another robot news roundup. Starting with this fucking abomination out of where else but Japan. Roboticist Hiroshi Ishiguro previously creeped everyone out with a robot that was just a literal copy of himself. Cool. And now he's back with a child robot named Ibuki, who will one day be able to wheel himself into your bedroom at night to strangle you with his skin hands.
Oh, he's just scared. He must have had a nightmare. Let him in the bed.
At this point, Ibuki is just a proof of concept who can't really do much, but he can.
Like a real kid.
It's true.
We can make one. He doesn't do a lot.
Doesn't do much. He's a proof of concept. He's a prototype.
We'll wait for the second one.
Yeah. He can see faces and navigate down hallways, though, which is enough to be a no from us, though, dog.
Yeah, much like a real kid. Anyways, less creepy is this shoelace tying robot from the UC Davis College of Engineering, which costs $600 to make and takes around a full minute to actually tie the shoelaces. It's a fun little project, but pretty much useless. And also it shatters yet another one of Back to the Future Part 2's coolest predictions by being totally lame.
Thanks.
Finally though, here's some pretty cool news. A solar-powered drone plane from Airbus managed to fly for 25 days straight and could have probably just kept on flying forever if they'd wanted it to. The previous model stayed in the air for 14 days, and this has absolutely shattered that record. Before you get too excited though, this plane is pretty much just one giant solar panel wing, and it has no room for passengers. It definitely can't carry the weight of passengers, especially Americans.
Probably carry like a squirrel.
Yeah, that squirrel can fly.
Yeah.
That's what he's retiring from water skiing to do.
Yeah.
Taking it to the sky now.
I'm gonna go around the world for 80 days.
Yeah. This is a pretty great step forward for possibly reducing aviation fuel costs in the future, at least offsetting it a little
Strap
bit.
some fucking solar panels on that big old plane.
Yeah, it's up there. It's closer to the sun.
They use so much fucking fuel. Like the amount of pollution and fuel consumption that the commercial aviation industry does is staggering. Like, dude, come on.
Come on.
Why isn't Elon Musk focusing on that? Get off Twitter and fix planes.
Yeah, you're gonna need a lot more acid for that though. Taking things off the ground. I mean, he does rockets, but that wastes a lot of fuel.
It does.
Anyways, in the meantime, it'll probably get used for stuff like internet access.
Yeah.
Especially in places that are too poor to have access to the internet, like Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll actually probably also get used for surveillance.
Yeah.
Not as cool.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of planes, a man robbed a plane, and he went out. In a way.
He did it his way.
He did it his way. And then also check out the latest episode of News Dump, where I get clicked into nothingness.
What did it cost?
The Oscars losing its credibility.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It was already hanging on by a string. Now it's gone. Well, bye.
Bye.